All right, we are live.
Ain't no stopping this train. Whoa!
Let me turn on speech chat and then get Project Motor Racing booted. And while we wait for Project Motor Racing to boot up, what is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man, Lincoln Clay. We are back for some Project Motor Racing, and today is the green light that I have been waiting for. Just waiting for the game to boot up here. Okay. I've already made my introduction. So, again, today is the big day that we've been waiting for. Kevin Bolin, who's with a 3060 Ti, because I'm at this computer right here, I'm on a 3070 Ti. All what I've been waiting for today, all it's all translates to this computer that I'm sitting at right here. My other two computers is kind of inconsequential because those PCs, my other PCs, are way more powerful than this one. So um, those computers are going to need, they do what I need them to do, and then some. This computer right here, I would probably say 70-80% of the games that I run, I have more than enough to run those games. But there are a few games that are demanding, and this game right here, this PC was able, it was always able to run it, but the performance was not good enough that I could trust it to run VR, and that was the big thing. So coming back to Kevin Bolin, well, before I go back to Kevin Bolin, let me finish responding to your comment about the 3060 Ti. You should get good performance if you run it at 4K. I really don't know what kind of performance you'll get. I like on my computers, I set the computer natively to 1080p. The reason why is because if I set it to 4K and then I'm running a VR headset at 4K and then I'm streaming at 4K all on the same computer, it will tax the shit out of the computer. I've got to free up some resources somewhere. So I always run the PC natively at 1080p. I stream at 1080p. And then as far as my headset goes, even though the computer is natively set at 1080p, I upscale it to whatever resolution I want to run it at. So in the case of this PC, I upscale it to like 2100p. My PC out there with a 4090, I upscale the resolution to roughly about 3200p, but I've gone as high as 4500p and still been able to get really solid performance natively. But at that point, it becomes a case of diminishing returns because all I'm doing is just taxing my PC more and more and more and more, but I don't see the return in the visuals because it's already kind of gotten as sharp as I can see with the human eye. So I keep the resolution at about 3200 on that PC because I think that's about as sharp as I can get as far as being able to see with the human eye. That's about as sharp as I can get. Anything higher than that, I don't really see the visual improvements, but I know that it's taxing my PC more. But yeah, this PC, I run it at about the VR, I run it at about 2100p. Some games I could run them higher. Some games I would have to run them lower depending on what I'm doing. And when it comes to VR, people don't really know it, but I dare say as a genre, racing games are probably the most demanding games in VR. I would probably say the only game that isn't a racing game that is super, super, super demanding in VR would be Microsoft Flight Simulator, because the game is already demanding before you even turn on the VR. So I did some testing on the new update. Well, I guess maybe we can go ahead and read the patch notes, and then I can respond as I'm reading the patch notes. So, projectmotorracing.com. All right, let me switch scenes here so we can read along with this together. Okay, Project Motor Racing Update 2003, which is today, May 4th, and today is my birthday. May the 4th be with you. I am a very youthful 59 years old today. So check it out. The update 2003 is now live for Project Motor Racing, bringing a wide range of improvements focused on performance, stability, and overall usability. Headlining this update is the introduction of multi-draw indirect on the PC platform, a significant rendering upgrade that improves how the engine handles large, complex scenes. Along that comes further expansion of the throttle response model, a new relative timings function for the Digidash, and a reworked handling for the Porsche 911 Carrera, which I don't really mess with that much. Let's see here. A relative timings leaderboard expanding on the existing Digidash tool. A new relative timing function has been added, giving players more detailed information on race position and gaps to opponent. I'll keep my eyes on that as I do more races, but the performance was the big thing for me. That's what I was concerned about, because that's going to clear the path for VR. Implementation of MDI, that is multi-draw indirect, is a major step forward in how the engine renders large, complex scenes by moving draw, call generation, and visibility decisions onto the GPU. CPU overhead has been significantly reduced, allowing the render to scale more efficiently with scene complexity. I just read it and I kind of don't get what I said. This enables the game to handle far more objects on screen while improving stability and overall CPU performance. Alongside this, culling, batching, and render pass organization have been refined to ensure only the work necessary for each frame is executed. The result is a more consistent frame rate, better use of modern hardware, and a stronger technical foundation for future multi-view features such as VR and triple screen support. That's what we want. That is the green light right there. Expanding the throttle, the anti-cheat system, first introduced in Update 2.0. The anti-cheat system has already been tested and ranked online. With Update 2003, it has now been expanded into Factory Driver Challenge, Endurance Hall, and the ranked online license test to help ensure fair and consistent leaderboard results. Throttle response, and I don't really pay much attention to that. Then there's a breakdown of what's been improved by car class. Several changes have been made to individual vehicles that do not affect other cars in their respective classes. Those changes are detailed below. Yeah, individual changes to the cars. Art environment, further improvement made to trackside vegetation for better performance and reduce shadow popping. I never really paid much attention to that. I was watching Boris, and he thinks the graphics are improved. Yeah, track improvements. AI opponents. Remove duplicate names. Tire wear now resets correctly when entering a new session. Lime Rock Chicane reworked racing lines. Improved AI opponent tire wear behavior, including more natural grip fall off over distance. Performance introduced in the eye for improved performance and stability. This change currently affects PC only and will be expanded to consoles in the future updates. PC players should see significant improvement gains as a result, and that is true. Even when the consoles get this update, I really don't know what will be the effect, because I think right now this game already runs at 60 frames per second on console. So with this update, in terms of improvements, the only way I can see it benefiting consoles is if you can basically double the frame rate and run at 60 frames per second. And I think in the case of these consoles, depending on what the developers do with it, the consoles run at 30, 60, and 120 frames per second, at least with the Xbox Series X and the PS5. So I think it's a given that with the PS5 and the Series X, that the majority of games on there run at 60 frames per second or close to it. So unless they can use this update to further, drastically improve the visuals, the only other benefit that I can see is if they improve the performance to 120 frames per second. So let's get back to the game, and then I will go over with you the improvements. So get back to scene. All right. Go back to the game. Oh, before we get going, if you would be so kind to hit that thumbs up, I would definitely appreciate it. Okay, so back to the game. Let's go into single player. And so we are at Sebring. I have used Sebring as my test bed for performance. Hey, Shaolin Monk, what's good? Oh, so you're not going to get the update yet. And even when you do get it, I don't know how you're going to be affected by it. Me, it just so happens that I took today off because it's my birthday, and I didn't necessarily take the day off because it's my birthday. I took the day off because I got a lot of shit I had to get done. I had to register my cars, and at our local mall, there's a kiosk in the lobby, and you can just walk up, scan your registration and get a new plate sticker right then and there. But in my case, because my Lexus, I store it during the winter and I pause the insurance on it while it's stored. So they had no records that I had valid insurance. So when I went to the kiosk to renew my plates, I got a message saying that, I had to write the Secretary of State and send them proof of my insurance, yada, yada, yada. I just decided it would be easier to just walk into the building and show it to them rather than mail a letter to Lansing and wait 2 to 3 weeks before it comes back. So I took the day off so I could go to the Secretary of State and get my cars registered. So that was part of it. One of my cars needed to go to the shop, so I had to go see the mechanic. And I needed the rest because I've been working overtime for the past month. So I wanted to recharge my battery, and so here I am. Okay, so as I was saying, I use Sebring as the test bed, and based on my settings, I know what my previous frame rate was at certain parts of the track and what the current frame rate is now that we have, the update 2003. And so what I'll do is I'll do a lap, and at key parts of the track, I will pause it and I'll tell you what I was getting before versus what I'm getting now. Now, there is something to keep in mind is that I do have OBS open, and sometimes OBS can tax your GPU by as much as 20%. So now that I'm streaming, I may not necessarily see the gains versus what I was getting before I started streaming. So, but I'll still tell you what the improvements were. So So I'll show you guys my settings. Yep. OBS definitely had an effect, but I still got significant gains though. So let me show you guys my settings, graphics right here. Frame rate is set to 180 because the game caps out at 180. 30 frames per second for the menu. I don't see any point in using more resources for the menu. Aliasing is set to FSR3. I do not have DLSS on. Honestly, DLSS actually makes things worse for me because I'm getting the same performance, but it's blurry. So advanced graphical settings. This is right here. In the past, the atmosphere quality and the volumetric fog quality, I had to turn those down to medium to get better frame rates because those are a noticeable weight on your computer. When you turn those down, I turned them down to medium before this update, and I probably gained an extra 10 to 15 frames. But now I can turn them back up to high, and I'm still seeing significant improvements. So texture filtering, when it controls the sharpness of the textures when viewed at a distance or grazing angles. Higher settings require greater GPU services and may reduce performance. All right, so we're right here at we're sitting here in the pits at the main screen. And right now, because I've got a toolbar, I've got a benchmark overlay going, and you guys can't see it, but I'll tell you what I'm getting. So right now, it is running at about 118 frames per second. I have the resolution set to 1080p. My preset is basically high. It's basically quality settings. So you have low, medium, quality, and ultra. And I think I have this set to quality. Yeah, I have it set to quality. So again, right now, I am getting 118 frames per second. Before this update, just sitting here like this, I was probably getting 80 to 90 frames per second. So if you say 80 frames per second, right out the gate, I'm already getting like a 38 frame improvement just sitting here. I've got 15 cars rendered. So I'm going to do one full lap, and then once we start the second lap, that's where I'll stop at key points and let you guys know what I was getting before the update and what I'm getting now. This was a key area right here, but I'll pause it the next time we go through. This is a key area right here. This is kind of a key area. Okay, here we go. Going through this corner right here. Right here. This area right here, before the update, when I go through that first turn one and I would come out of that turn one, there would be a significant frame drop. It would go from probably like 83 frames per second and would drop all the way down to 68. After this patch, going into that corner, turn one, I'm hitting anywhere between 110 and 115 frames per second. And then once I come out of that high speed first turn, and I would get to this point right here, after the patch, and this is before OBS, like right now, like just now, I was hitting like 105 frames per second. But without OBS open, I was hitting about 115 frames per second. So in short, I went from this particular part of the track right here, because this is where the biggest frame drop was. I went from 68 frames per second in this area based on my settings to 115. So that's 30, 45, about 47 frame, a 47 frame jump, which is absolutely insane. All right, let's go to another part. Let's get to another key part. Through here, I would normally get into the high 80s, but when I was testing earlier, I was getting about 110. So that's a massive jump right there too. And then we're coming up on another key area where I would have significant frame drops. About right here, this area in the past, I would see the frame rate drop into the 70s, and just now I was hitting about 96 frames per second going through there. And before I went live with no OBS open, I was getting about 104 going through there. So we're going high 70s. So yeah, again, high 70s. So I'll call it 78, 80 frames a second. So I went from 80 frames a second in this particular area of the track. Yeah, I hear you. I hear it's the bank holiday or something like that. So this particular part of the track, I went from getting about 78 frames per second to about 105. So that right there is like a 20 1678. So that right there is like a 27 frame jump right there. And now we're coming up to another key spot right here. This straightaway right here. Now I will say that as far as this improvement up goes, maximum frame output, I have not gotten that much of an improvement. So this part of the track is where I would get my most frames. Before the update, I would probably get about 108 frames per second. But with the update, this same part of the track, I've hit about 122 frames per second. So as I was saying, about 108 to 122. That's about 15 frames or something like that offhand. So the big thing with this update is, I would put it, I think the best way to describe it is when you're going through corners, you're maintaining your frame rate. Whereas before this update came out, when you went around corners, there was a huge drop in frame rates. You still get a little bit of drop, but I mean, I would see frame rates drop as low as 20 frames. Now I'm only seeing maybe shit. No, I'm seeing improvements all over the track. So I was just hitting 109 right there. This is another key part right here. I would get into the around 90. Now I'm doing about 100, but I was hitting about a 115 without OBS. Yeah, right there. Shit. That heavy section right there. I was just getting 96 frames per second in the area where I've seen it drop as low as 68. So this update was huge in terms of performance. I mean, massive. But I will do you guys one better. Rather than try to describe it to you guys, I'll give you the link so you can see for yourself. 1 second. I'm going to put a link in the chat to Boris's video. He just put up a video where he did a side-by-side comparison. He ran a race and then he did the replays side by side. You know, before the update and after the update, side by side with a performance overlay at the top of the screen, and you will see the difference in the performance yourself. So let me find that video. Shout out to Boris. Okay, so let me go find that history. EJR even Stewart. Here we go. Share, copy, and here we go, folks. Paste. Okay, so that's the link to the latest video that Boris put up. And so yeah, I tried to explain it to you guys, but I think it would be easier for you guys to see it rather than me trying to explain it to you. Now, the one thing that I will say is, based on my settings, the CPU usage is still basically the same as far as the CPU. Now the GPU has jumped up to 100%, whereas my GPU usage was hovering at around 70%, sometimes dipping into the 60s, but now it's 100% on the GPU. But the CPU, the usage is still the same, the temperature is still the same, but the difference is I got way more frames. So now that you guys have seen that, now I'm curious if my CPU usage will drop once I turn on sync, because everything is smoother with VSync on. Not gonna lie. All right, CPU, where we at? All right, let's see if we can find something for a rank race. MX5. Damn, we must have just missed the GT3 race. Let me see here. We got, yeah, the next GT3 race is at Nürburgring. It's in 15 minutes. So what time is it? It is going on 2 o'clock. So I guess what I could do is go ahead and monkey around for about 10 minutes. Oh, thank you. Unfortunately, I'm not that big anymore. That profile pic, I was about 215, 220 pounds. Unfortunately, type 2 diabetes forced me to change my eating habits, along with its own effects that it was taking on me, and I've lost a significant amount of weight. I still have an athletic build, but just not near as big as I was in that profile pic. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Where I'm at now is that I can't get that big again, even, because the restrictions on what I have to watch out for with type 2 diabetes. I have to watch how much carbs I take in, how much sodium, how much sugar, and just about everything you eat or drink, probably with the exception of water, has one of those elements in it, whether it's natural or artificial. Uh, Vegetables, being that they're good for you, they do have carbs, and it would only so much carbs that I can eat, that I can take in, and to me is oh, that's crappy. But yeah, I'll just shorten it up about my condition, because of how much, because I have to watch out for, because I have to watch what I eat. I would never be able to eat enough food to get big again. If I ate the way I did when I was working out, I'd be in serious trouble right now. I'd be on my way to a stroke or a heart attack or something like that. Um, so yeah, that's the trade-off. 12 minutes. Sheesh, the hypercars. Oh, because I see here. Depending on the track, like right here, this GT3 Endurance Cup is 13 laps at Spa, and then this hypercar race is 8 laps. But wow, look at that timer, 23 hours. Then the GT3 Endurance race is 78. You know, I kind of feel like maybe they should take the Le Mans Ultimate route with these endurance races. Like, okay, 78 hours from now, and I'm sitting here doing the numbers in my head that okay, 78 hours from now, that's gonna be, you know, that's gonna be Thursday at noon p.m. and all that shit. You know, I don't want to try to crunch that. I think I would like to see them move the endurance races um, to the weekends. You know, lay out the time slots just like they do on Le Mans Ultimate, and do the endurance races on the weekends. You know, noon, 3, 6, 9, 12. You know, maybe every 3 hours or something. But I guess something else while I'm thinking about it. I did try, like every now and then, I periodically try to boot up Project Motor Racing in VR. And when I'm wearing my VR headset, in most cases, what I would get was the big giant theater screen. So I'm playing the game on the theater screen, but I'm not playing it in VR. So today I tried it and the headset froze on me. So I restarted to make sure this wasn't a fluke and tried it again. And the theater mode didn't even work. It just froze up. So what I'm trying to say is I think the process has already begun of them probably putting files into the game to get it ready for the VR. So based on the pattern that they've been rolling out these updates, I think we could see the VR as soon as 3 weeks, but as late as 2 months. So that isn't news. That is hope, and that is belief. So we got here. Let me go ahead and register for this 10 minutes. I'll find something to blab about for the next 9 minutes. You know, on all these games, I have my cars that I use. Some of them out of straight loyalty, some of them because I like the way the cars handle. On Le Mans Ultimate and Automobilista 2, I use the Corvette. And I started using the Corvette on Automobilista 2 because it started out as a joke. Because during the 80s, American cars were junk. Whereas the Japanese cars were great on gas mileage and they were super dependable. I mean, the body would fall apart before the engine did. So I'm playing Automobilista 2 with my friend Ham, and I would always make this joke about, American junk. So I started out using the Corvette as a joke, like this American junk can't win any races. And then I guess the American pride kind of took over. Not just the American pride, but the underdog mentality. Like, it's more rewarding when you win with something that's supposed to be inferior, or not competition. So whenever I would win races on Automobilista 2 with the Corvette, it was very rewarding. It felt really good. So I carried that over to Le Mans Ultimate, and on Le Mans Ultimate, when the Corvette GTE on Le Mans Ultimate is actually a good all around car. It's not the best car, but it's a good all around car, and I actually like the way it handles. The Corvette GT3 on Le Mans Ultimate was a car I did not like. It took some getting used to, but that's a car that I kind of use out of sheer loyalty, to the Corvette rather than I like the way the car handles. I would make a case that on Le Mans Ultimate, the BMW M4 is probably the best all-around car in the GT3. It does everything good. And then we jump over to ACC. I went through a series of cars, Lamborghini, BMW M6, and I ended up settling on the Porsche 992 once they got that. That became my car. GT7, the Honda NSX is more or less my go-to car. The Porsche is probably the DJ. What is good, my guy? How you doing?
Ain't no stopping this train. Whoa!
So I was saying on GT7, the Honda NSX is my go-to car, even though the Porsche is the best. It was the best car in the class. I don't, well, no, it wasn't the best car in the class. See, Polyphony Digital kind of on that Japanese shit where the Japanese cars are the best cars in the game. So I think like the Nissan GTR was like the best GT3 car. And I think the Supra is a pretty good car too on GT7. The NSX is respectable. So I say all of that to say this, that Project Motor Racing, when this game first came out, the Corvette was my go-to car in the GTE and the GT3. But I had switched over to the Ford GT in the GTE class because the Corvette was way too twitchy. I was having a hard time with that car. But then yeah, that sounds funny. Um, I don't know. I'm happy with my GT Omega rig out there. Nah, I'll never get another rig again. I don't need one. So coming back to my preferred cars. So in the GT3 class, the Corvette was my preferred car. But in the beginning, when this game first launched, the Corvette was the meta car in the GT3. So I backed off of using the Corvette because I didn't want to be the guy using the meta car. So I was flip-flopping back and forth between using the Porsche and the Acura NSX. But I love the way the Porsche handles in this game. And then after 2.0, the Porsche was the meta car because it was the Audi before that, and then the Porsche became the meta car. So now I guess when you go into these sessions, mostly everybody's using the Porsche. I still use the Porsche because I'm just used to it. Plus, I love the way the Porsche handles. When I get dialed in, I love it. But I love the way the Corvette handles too in the GT3. But damn, when I stop and think about it, all the GT3s handle pretty good. They all have their slight differences. But I think just to be different, when this game gets its VR support, I think I'm gonna switch over and use the Acura NSX. Just to be different. Maybe mix in some Mustang. All right, we got 3 minutes. So I managed to blab and talk you guys' ears off until the next race starts. Oh, I forgot to go into the settings. Well, no, I did. I did go into the settings and turn on VSync. So we'll see what happens when we get into this race. This TV that I'm on is a 60 hertz TV. So with VSync turned on and it locks me at 60 frames per second, I'm going to be keeping an eye out to see if there's a significant drop in the GPU and the CPU. RAM's not even an issue. You know, this computer's got 32 gigs of DDR4, which I was at some point I will update to I will upgrade to DDR5, but it's 32 gigs of DDR4, and the most RAM that I've seen this game use was like 14.5 RAMs out of the available 32. All right, we got 2 minutes. One minute. 1 minute. So before I went live, I was in a community race with EJ, and he had 28 people in there. Now with this game, I don't think you can choose how many cars to render during multiplayer. With single player, you can't choose how many opponents you want. But with multiplayer, I don't think you can choose how many cars you render, because if you could choose how many cars to render, that would definitely free up resources as well. So whenever they implement that, that'll be even more helpful as far as your performance goes. But I was in a session with EJ. There was 28 cars in there, and I was running roughly, based on my settings, I was running roughly about 95 frames per second, and CPU usage was in the 60s. And I think that was pretty good, being that I'm rendering 28 cars, whereas in single player, I'm rendering 15. You know, with single player, my CPU, I believe, is controlling every single car on the track, whereas in the multiplayer, um, you know, I don't think the CPU's not controlling what everybody else does. So the CPU usage is a little bit less when you're online. So we got 37 people registered for this, and that means there's going to be at least 2 splits. And somehow I got knocked back down to Division 5 when I was at Division 4. How the hell did that happen? Unless I'm missing something here. So the last championship ended a few days ago, and I finished 67th. Not bad, but I mean, at one point I was like, I think I was about as high as 17. So I'm going to keep an eye on the CPU usage. Um, it's not exactly going to be an apples to apples comparison, because I don't know how many cars are going to be in here. It looks like I got to start things all over again. Okay. No in-game sound on stream. You should be hearing something. Yeah, you should be hearing something. Unless I turn the master volume up. Yeah, you should be hearing something. Mr. Rodman. Just a minute. Yeah, there is no. Just a minute. Oh, you know what? Oh, you know what? I might have had the headset. I might have had the headset muted. Hold on. I can always see this race again. Okay, nothing's. Yeah, that's weird. Hold on, folks. Noodle, what's good? Um, Settings, audio. Oh, there you go, my guy. Yeah, thank you. Oh, I know why. There's your. There you go. There's the audio.
At Noodle14 said, I hope all is well. Folded hands, medium dark skin tone.
Okay, you should have audio now.
At Jackwidden362. Said. There it is.
Let's go!
At Little14. Said. Game audio is working now.
There we go,
At
thanks!
Little14. Said. Everything seems to be working now.
Yeah, that's all part of streaming, man. When you got to go through that damn long-ass checklist, you're always going to miss something. So, thanks so much to the audience for pointing that out.
At Dale Rodman Jr. Said. Yee.
I'll tell you, Noodle, this game...
362. Said. Push, 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 slightly smiling face.
You got it.
At Whittle 14. Said. Dale Victory Hand Medium Dark Skin Tone. At Whittle 14. Said. Jack Victory Hand Medium Dark Skin Tone.
I'm going to let him go. Because there's nothing I can do to set a lapping time.
At DJJM09. Said. Middle Victory Hand Medium Dark Skin Tone. At Middle 14. Said. DJ Victory Hand Medium Dark Skin Tone.
Okay. Yes, there's nothing I can do. So we'll just treat this as a throwaway race. Because the game's taking me back to the pit. That's not me even doing that. CPU usage. Now that I've turned on VSync and I've locked the frame rate at 60 frames per second, my CPU usage is in the mid 30s, but I've seen it drop as low as 28%. So yeah, once again, this performance update has made a huge difference. I would dare say that the state that this game is in now, if it would have launched in this state, people would have been saying, watch out for this game. This game is gonna, this game is gonna, it's gonna find its mark. I don't want to say that it'll be a threat to other games because that's getting too far ahead of myself.
Said. At DJJM09 Victory Hand Medium Dark Skin Tone.
So 154. I think the fastest
At DJJM09. Said. At Jackwidden362 Victory Hand Medium Dark Skin Tone.
Let me go back to the...
At Middle 14. Said. Is this game better on PC or console?
It is definitely better on PC. Not only that, on PC, you can control your graphics and you can control your graphical settings. You can control whatever you need to make your performance or your visuals better.
At DJJM09. Said. I feel like it's just snooty-ass PC users being too critical on everything.
I would definitely, if you want to buy this game on console, that's fine, but I just think there's far more benefits of playing this game on PC. As I was saying, you can control your frame rate, your graphical settings, DLSS, and it's free to play online. You don't need PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass in order to play online.
At Middle 14. Said. Okay, good to know. I'm on a 5080.
Oh yeah,
Rodman Jr. Said. Console is the best way to dip your toes into sim racing to see if you truly enjoy it. Dale Rodman Jr. said, but all roads lead to PC, in
What
the
a-
end LOL.
What a dickhead. Alright, I'm gonna pressure your ass and make you go off the road.
At DJJM09 said, I still have an AMD 6900 XT and a 5800X. At DJJM09 said, I need to upgrade soon.
Yeah, CPU usage right now is 38%.
At Middle 14 said, chaos everywhere LOL face with tears of joy.
This dude can't keep the car on the road. I'm sitting here talking about him and I'm struggling myself. All right, let's get back to it. I had the fastest first sector.
At Middle 14 said, gotta lock in.
Yeah, definitely. And as you can see, this game is running pretty good. Damn it. I don't want to lose that Corvette, so I'll just take the penalty. See if I can stay on his ass and see if I can get him to make a mistake.
At Solar Warden 4K HDR. Said. Are your graphics 4K max settings?
No. I'll talk about my settings after this race.
At DJJM09. Said. I am glad they worked out the GT500 issue.
Oh, they did?
At Jacklin362. Said. You're heat on him now, Lincoln. Pressure that fool. At DJJM09. Said. They're labeled it as Japanese prototypes. At Crosshair Precision. Said. Hello.
How's it going?
At Middle 14. Said. Crosshair. At Middle 14. Said. Victory hand medium dark skin tone. At Jackwitten 362. Said. Watch your 6 Lincoln.
Yeah,
one coming in hot.
yeah, and he's lunging too. I'm gonna give it to him. He's trying too hard. He was gonna push me out the way if I didn't move. He might do me a favor and take that Corvette out for me.
At Crosshair Precision. Said. At Middle 14 Victory hand dark skin tone. At Jackwitten 362. Said. Follow that Porsche on the pass.
Yeah, we got one more lap after this.
At JackWitten362 said, there it is.
Yeah, that's the moment I was looking for, but unfortunately, the guy in front of me got away. Oof.
At JackWitten362 said, this game is so much better now.
It is.
I hope the race numbers keep climbing.
Me too. And as you guys saw, that was minimal shit as far as the online stability goes. That race I had no issues as far as the online stability goes. Cars weren't rubber banding or teleporting or shit like that in front of me. Everything was smooth. I mean, that fight that I had with that Corvette was a very smooth performance. If this would have been 3-4 months ago, that fight that I got caught in.
Said, GGZ.
Thanks, appreciate it. Now the fastest lap that I seen was a 155. I'm looking at a 155 flat. I did a 156.8. I dare say that it once I get VR, once it gets VR support, I can get into the 155s. Because I'm actually faster in VR than I am flat screen. All things considered, I think that was a decent race.
At JackWitten362 said, GG Lincoln.
Thank you so much.
You made lemonade out of lemons of equality.
Yo, look at this. We already 30 in here. Let's do it again. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was able to salvage that. Made lemonades out of lemon. I didn't even get a chance to see. Oh, look at that shit! 46 points. Imagine how many points I would have got if I could have won that race. That's pretty damn good for points. So I dare say with Project Motor Racing, they've addressed the main parts of this shit. The online stability, the online stability and the performance have been addressed. Now I think the next update, I'm praying to God that will be the date that we get the VR. You know, and Noodle, if you're still watching, I'm gonna tell you. Like, if you like the GT500 class, or in the case of in the case of GT7, I think it's the Group 1 class with the Ray Brig NSX and those GT500 cars. If you like those cars on GT7, you will love the GT500 cars on this game. They have GT500 and GT500 EVO. Everybody knows about that situation where they were forced to take the DLC down.
At Noodle14 said, I'm still here.
Okay, cool.
At Noodle 14 said GR2.
Okay, group 2. And then the other thing, Noodle, they got so many different
At
car
Noodle
classes.
14 said okay hand medium dark skin tone.
They got so many car classes in this
At
game
Noodle
too.
14 said PMR has the vehicles.
Something else that I've pointed out several times with this game. Project Motor Racing has the most current hypercars on console. Le Mans Ultimate, I believe, has the most current hypercars because they have the exclusive license for the WEC. So I think Le Mans Ultimate has 13 hypercars. This game, I believe, has 9 or 10, and they have the Acura hypercar. To my knowledge, iRacing and Automobilista 2 are the only other games that have that that Acura LMD, LMDH car. So until Le Mans Ultimate comes to console, if you want to race hypercar on console, Project Motor Racing is your game. Again, they have the most current hypercars on console. On Project Motor Racing, the only major hypercar that this game is missing is the Ferrari hypercar. Let's go. Oh yeah, my CPU usage has significantly dropped now that I've turned on VSync. That was bad.
At JackWitten362 said LOL looks like a Porsche Cup race.
It does. So I guess the Porsche is still the weapon of choice. They got a nice little fight going up there, even though it's quali. Oh shit. starting to overshoot some of my brake markers.
At Jacklin362 said, Lincoln, this was a lot of fun and I gave you a subscribe plus a thumbs up.
Oh,
rocking it.
Hey, hold on.
Ain't
There
no
you go.
stopping
Thanks for the
this
sub.
train.
Appreciate it.
Whoa!
At Middle 14 said, TC Jack, come back Jack, don't hit the road.
There you go.
Jack Wiggin, thanks for following.
Appreciate the follow.
At JackWitty362 said, at Noodle 14 winking face, nice one.
That wasn't a good lap. That was a horrible lap. I was getting extra greedy. Think I might have one more shot at it. Got two cars on my ass too. And they probably gonna try to dive underneath me. Dude punted me. What a fucking idiot. Yep. Knew it. Dude bumped me and knocked me straight off the track. And then when I tried to rejoin, I got smacked. So.
Session is over.
But I already know. That is the problem with sim racing these days. The dirty drivers aren't the problem. It's the over-aggressive drivers that's the problem. But that guy that just bumped me off the track, him being aggressive like that and pushing me out of the way, there's a difference between being aggressive and controlled aggression. If you can't control it, you're just going to fly off the track. So that being said, if this guy is truly an idiot, he's going to go off the track during the race. Let me look at the standings and see just how many. Oh my God, this is a Porsche Cup. Look at all this shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Porsche. 6 out of 22 cars, 16 of them are Porsche. Holy shit. Oh my God. Damn, next race I might have to use a different car. Anyway, as far as that guy that bumped me off the road, we'll have to bury that cockroach. Let's see here.
Yeah, mate.
Oh.
We didn't set a time, so we'll be starting from the back, I'm afraid.
Oh, it said I didn't set a time? Yeah, 18th. But I already know, given today's climate of sim racing, even though I'm starting 18th, there's a pretty good chance I will finish in the top 10, just for the simple fact that there's going to be turn 1 carnage.
At HamVR said, yo at Lincoln Claver.
Yo, my guy, Ham.
Ain't no stopping this train! Whoa!
Hey, how you been, brother? One more click, one more click. All right, let's go.
At HamVR said, old schooling on the bedroom rig. At Noodle14 said, Ham Victory Hand Medium Dark Skin Tone.
Yeah, Noodle Ham is one of my best friends on YouTube. We've been friends for years, and a lot of damn near everything what I know as far as computers goes, he's responsible for it. His connection's a little bit funny.
At Noodle14 said, nice, always good to a friend like that on your side.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Total disregard on the rejoin. That was dirty. That was blatant.
Said, this looks pretty good in 2D.
That was pretty dirty. Guy straight knocked me into the wall. It already saw that he was targeting me before it. This asshole's gonna learn what it's like to be the hunted. Oh, I turned too late.
You've been given a penalty. You've got to give the time back. Slow down and move off the racing line. Track limit penalty. You've been given a track limit penalty. Take it on the chin.
What did I tell you? He went off the track. What did I tell you, people? If there's a difference between aggression and controlled aggression. And if you one of them dive-bombing idiots to do it just to do it, eventually you're going to go off the track.
Down and keep the time back, mate. Pull off the racing line and allow any cars to pass.
I was going to give it to you. Now, oh my God. He waits to let me go through, then decide he wants to go for it. Oh my God!
You've got to keep the time back. Slow down and move off the racing line.
Well, my best lap was a 156.1, but it got invalidated. Oh shit, the guy that won did a 151.9. Ooh. I'm raising an eyebrow on that one.
At middle 14. Said. GGZ.
Even though I came in, what, 10th? I don't think that was such a good race because a couple of idiots knocked me off the track.
At middle 14. Said. Great live stream fire.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
At middle 14. Said. I'm heading out now. Have a great week. Folded hands, medium dark skin tone.
All right, Noodle.
Ain't no stopping
There you
this
go.
train. Whoa!
Appreciate you dropping in. Oh, looks like they're gonna make us do a full lap. So performance, that race, whenever I got a chance to take a look, performance hovered around 40% on the CPU.
Good job out there today. Not fast enough for the podium, but we'll get there next time.
Ooh, excuse me. I think I got one more in me. I think I got one more race in me. The next G. Oh, look at that. 45 people registered. I got 15 seconds. Woo! Made it in the nick of time. 53 people, 54 people registered. 57. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, we lost one, but. So definitely going to be two splits. Because I think max is 32 cars per split. So we might be looking at 28. We might be looking at two splits of 28 cars. Or roughly three splits of 17 cars. Ooh, excuse me, folks.
At Shaolin Monk 4206. Said. 3 splits. At Shaolin Monk 4206. Said. Splits.
Does it show where the splits are at, or are you just making that guess by how many cars are in the session? So let's see how many cars we got in here. No, I think it's two splits. Oh, we got 27 cars in here.
At Shaolin Monk 4206. Said. But still that's good for this game.
Whew, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I think we got two splits of 27. But yeah, that's still good. All right, this is it.
At Shaolin Monk 4206 said, guess based of the number of people.
Oh, look at my seat position. Yeah, based on the number of people in here, I think it's 2 splits of 27. So the more cars, the more chaos.
At Shaolin Monk 4206 said, good luck, thumbs up.
Oh shit, thank you. I thought for sure he was going to try to pull out in front of me and wreck me. What is he doing?
Session in 5 minutes.
Dude tried to brake check me. Well, at least I think.
At Hellcat T5B said, what are your thoughts on Forza Horizon?
I haven't played a Forza Horizon game since like Forza Horizon 2. That kind of stuff is not really my type of game. However, the upcoming Forza 6 looks gorgeous. So I'm thinking about getting it just for a change of pace whenever I want to get away from the chaos of this type of sim racing. Where I can just, like, if I had long blonde hair, I would say just let my hair down. So I think that's what a Forza game is. We just let loose. As you guys can see, this game is running pretty damn good. No, please don't invalidate the lap. Damn, they invalidated it. It wasn't a good lap anyway. And I overshot my brake marker. That lap's invalidated too.
Checking flag this lap. End of session.
What was the purpose of that brake check? So I set an official lap of 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Holy shit. All those invalidations.
We're going to have to work on our one lap pace moving forward. But let's see what we can do in the race. That's where the points count.
Yeah. It's going to be a rough one. I'm in 19th. I'm starting 19th. But once again, I'm counting on some chaos. But I need to get faster. I need to get into at least the 155s. Let's go.
Okay, mate, you can do this. Let's stay out of trouble in the first few corners. No heroics out there.
We'll do it. We'll do. Oh my God. little bit of rubber banding in front of me. Oof. Nothing I can do about that. Oh yeah, the heavy damage, it kicked in. The car doesn't feel as grippy. Is he getting in front of me just so he can brake check me? Oh, asshole! And we got some rubber banding. Right there, you deserve it, asshole. Yeah, the car doesn't have as much grip. He's way too aggressive, so I'll let him go. And then just try to keep the pressure on his ass and see if I can force him off the road. I got greedy. trying to overcompensate for the damage that I took. Oh shit, not again! I'm messing up big time. Still trying to figure out reference points to overcompensate for this damage. Oof.
You've been given a penalty. You've got to give the time back. Slow down and move off the racing line. Track limit penalty. You've been given a track limit penalty.
Ugh.
Take it on the chin. Never mind. Better luck next time, mate. We'll find more speed in the car for the next race. At least you made up some meters.
Absolutely the worst race of the day. Yeah, that might be the cue. Damn, look at that. Now you got 29 people ready to race. The 992 Sprint Series after that. All right, all right, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Um, all in all, pretty good racing. You had a couple of drivers where you could see that their connection wasn't that good. There was one car that was slightly rubber banding and another car that looked like it was slightly teleporting. But other than that, the online stability was pretty damn good. You know, no online stability is 100% perfect. You're always going to see at least that one car that's moving erratically, you know, teleporting, rubber banding, what have you. So all things considered, this game has come far enough that the online stability is pretty good. I think probably the hit detection probably needs to get a little bit better, because by the time, you know, you hit a car and the hit detection actually registered, you're already inside the car that you made contact with. So that probably could use a little bit of work. But other than that, pretty damn good. The performance improvement is massive. Yeah, in some instances, I've seen as much as 35 frames increase. And so I think as far as the performance goes, my maximum frame rate wasn't all that much more, you know, because before this update, my maximum frame rate I was getting using Sebring as the test bed. I was getting anywhere from 110 to 120, 110 to 115 frames max. And with this new update, I think I've hit as much as 125 max. Maybe even 128 might have been my max. But the real improvement came in the corners, where I would see it drop 20 frames, you know, into the high 60s. And now, you know, in those certain trouble spots, I'm still hitting in the 90s. So massive, massive, massive increase. So to me, that clears the path for the VR. So I pray that the next major update will include the VR. What I'm wondering is which update will come next? This update for the console, or will the VR come next? So I think where this game is right now, if they did not have to account for the consoles, we would have gotten to this point a long time ago. I think they probably could have fixed the game within a couple of months. But because they had to include console, and then there's the crossplay and shit like that, they had to deal, you know, they got to deal with all that shit too. So all in all, I would say a pretty damn good job by Straight 4 getting this game to the point where it is now. Um, um, I've always liked this game, but you know, as far as the online stability and shit like that goes, very enjoyable. So, with that being said, folks, I am going to get ready to boogie on out of here. Not sure when I'll be back, except to say that I'll be back this week. Um, and I dare say that when I come back this week, it'll either be Project Motor Racing again, Race Room, or AC Evo. Believe it or not, I'm actually having some fun on AC Evo, even though the VR still needs a lot of optimization. So, with that, thanks so much for watching, everybody. We will see you on the next one. Until then, you all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and deuces. Have a good one, everybody.